Hello and welcome to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to be looking at some of the goodies that I took to Tully this week. So I'm going to wait for a few people to join us before I start doing lots of announcements and things. So how have you all been? Sorry we've been away for the week, but we've been rather busy, haven't we? So I've got Ian and Lucy here as well. So you might just hear them say hi if you're lucky. So hi Deb. His samples look great and maybe well up on telly. So I'll give it a few more minutes just to see if we can get a few more people in the room. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of show you how the supplies work and how it's going to speed up your crafting. So given that I didn't get to do any demos on Wednesday, I thought I would try and do some now. Now please bear in mind when I say that the studio is still split half and half. We're getting there slowly, aren't we? But so you may hear that Ian has to go for a little jog to the other room. So let's get on with the show. So do you want to do the code, Ian? No, he's going to get me to do it. Okay. So everything that you saw on Hobby Maker is now on our website too, and we have done a launch code. So you're going to love this one. The code is like on the telly, but you're going to swap the vowels for numbers. So there you go. And it gives you 15% off site-wide, £10 minimum order, and it expires 1st of July. So get those orders in. Deb's going to switch to YouTube so she can watch on the telly. Yeah. Well, hopefully. Oh yeah, I forgot something as well. So free shipping over £50. So that's going to make things a lot easier. And it's no longer via Royal Mail either. So
no, Royal Mail is still there, but select FedEx.
Yeah, select FedEx for the free shipping. Okay. So first demo. I thought it would be a good idea to get out papers and have a play. So I did a little bit of pre-cutting, and all the bits that I've cut out ahead of time I've used the silhouette for. So we've got some of the builder flowers, we've got some of the borders, some of the sentiments so that we can dive straight on in. But I've also kept the offcut for the builder flower so I can use it as a stencil. Okay, so when you're cutting on the silhouette, and there will be a video later this week that's going to be showing you all the ins and outs of cutting, but just make sure that if you're working on a silhouette that this strip here just overhangs the edge of the cutting mat so that it's not trying to scan that, otherwise it won't work. So let's get stuck in with a little bit of stenciling. So move these bits off to one side for a moment. And I have a nice big card blank here. I'm going to place my stencil, and I'm going to use a brush for this just because I want to kind of build up my colour nice and softly rather than one of my usual blending brushes. So this is just going to put a texture in the back of our card rather than be fun. So I'm just going to sweep through the stencil and then round and round and round. And you may think that you've not put anything down in terms of the ink, but there's actually more on there than what you think. So it doesn't take very much. So nothing is wasted. We can use our background pieces for stencils, or if you want to use them for stamping, if you have larger areas, then you can use that. And there's our stencil. So now, because we've got a few little sharper edges, I'm just going to just blend over that so that there's a bit of a softness to those edges, like so. Okay, so now what we do next, I'm going to move to my paper pads. Now paper pads are a bit of a misnomer when it comes to these designs, because these are lovely thick cuts. Hi Linda! And let's find one that's going to go with our colour scheme so far. Let's go for that one. Now, I'm always too gentle with these. That one's looking quite good as well, so let's take that one out. And one more for good measure. I'm going to need that one in a bit, so I'm going to set that to one side. Okay, go for that one. So it's been a while since we've been live, and welcome to the new studio setup. So let's get these in some kind of order. So I'm thinking go from the beige into the pink into the sort of grey colour here. There's going to be a nice transition, and we can do that down the side there. Now we could use the scan and cut to do that, or you can use your trimmer. The choice is yours. So let's bring in my trimmer. Scary big trimmer as well. Now, when you're cutting with these papers, what you want to do is try and work from this right hand edge so that we keep our binding intact, and that's going to mean that you can then put the papers back in your binder so that you're not losing any or worrying about where you're going to stick your offcuts. So I'm going to go for about 2 inches. So if we line up our little strip here with our 4-inch marker here, then we can know that we've got 2 inches over there. Okay, going to do the same again, so line up on that 4-inch so that we know that we're cutting a 2-inch square. Okay, so there's our first one. We're going to do the same.
I've turned off the Royal Mail shipping, so it should just only offer the FedEx, which is fixed price.
Okay, so 2 inches again, let's sit over there. And one last one. Now this one, I just want to take a little bit out of this corner here because I don't want to ruin the rest of this design, but I do want to get a little bit this top border in. So if I hold that bit closer so you can see, there we go. So we've got a little border at the top, and then we've got a big design down the bottom. So the idea behind these papers is that you can either use them as they come to do like your scrapbook background, your card background, or you can just pick sections. So I'm just going to take the blade down to roughly the 2-inch mark there, rotate, line it up with the 4-inch mark here, and then you want the centre of your blade to meet that cut line there, and there you go, we've got a square. So we have our 3 squares. Now let's move on to our little topper sheet, and you can use this in several different ways. So if you want to use it as is, that's fine. If you want to use your scan and cut to scan it in and overlay a shape, then you can also do that too. You could use the method that I showed you with a basic shape and then fuzzy cutting sections just to get that detail. You do that in Canvas Workspace. So choice is yours. I'm gonna go let's go back to here. And turn it around to make this next cut a little bit easier. And even though we've got this strip left, I can still put that back away, and I might use that as a border for something else. So now what we need to do, now that we've got our 2 pieces trimmed with an almost equal border there and there, is just work out where we want to actually cut our next pieces. So bear in mind our original squares are 2-inch squares, so we're going to want to go a little bit smaller than that for our finished cut. So I'm just going to chop off that bottom petal. So if you remember to do that each time we cut, we should end up with something that ends up pretty equal. So rather than using our measurements as a guide, we're going to use the design guide instead. Okay, so now we've got 2 sides cut. Now we can worry about measurements. So if we were to line up on this 2-inch mark now, that's literally going to sit directly over our squares. So I'm just going to take in just a little. Now on my trimmer, I haven't got anything to kind of guide this right hand edge. On your trimmer, you might have something slightly different. So I'm just going to use this line here as a guide by eye instead. And you're going to want to go to roughly the same mark for the top. And do that with all 4 if you want, or just the 3 that you're actually going to use for this layout. One more. Okay, there we go. So we've got our 3 squares done. Let's bring these in. So put those like that, so we've got our music kind of flowing through. And then we can do a little bit offset if you want, or we can go into the middle. But if we go into the middle, we're going to lose a lot of that detail, so I'm just going to offset it so you can obviously see that music kind of flowing through. And because we've got the border detail on this bottom one, you're going to want that border to be visible at the top. So something like this. Let me just move that up. Camera positioning still isn't quite right, so we'll get there. Okay. So let's move these. So I can move my trimmer. Back to our card.
Thanks for all the details. Thanks for all the details.
Thank you. So we can either go down one edge, or we can do a column down the centre. So let's try that there. This one's going to go down the bottom. Let's go that way. And there we go. So something like that. Nice easy one. Double-sided tape. Have you shared it out to the group as well? Thank you.
On the group.
Okay. So let's start with this one central.
Are you watching it on YouTube?
And then a bit more double-sided tape to mat our topper. Now, another top tip with all the cut sheets is that, particularly the detailed ones, you can do a bit of double-sided sheet or roll onto the back of your sheet before you cut. And then you've got pre-made stickers. Makes this bit a little bit quicker. And also, if you use an older mat, you can convert that so with your double-sided adhesive so that it can hold better in place when it's cutting. Okay, so I'm going to pop that on there. And again, I'm going to try and keep these level. Now, the good news is when it comes to the flowing music manuscript, there are no clefts. So if you will need to turn it upside down, you can do. It's not going to matter too much. So let's move that one up and to the left. Andy's watching. Hi Andy. So what you're going to see over the coming week is that we are going to be doing a lot of different techniques with the pads and also the craft shield. so that you're really going to get to learn how to use it, and that offer's going to be there for you to purchase. Okay, so there we go. Hi Delcy, how are you? So if you have any questions about the pads or how they're produced, I covered quite a bit on telly, but if you missed the show, I don't mind just going over the process and the thought behind them. Okay, so we've got our 3 panels and it just needs a little something else. So let's fold that. Just going to get my bone folder so this lies a little flatter. So just burnish that fold from the back, and then you won't mark the front of your card.
This is fine. How are you?
We're getting there, aren't we? It was a very tiring week, wasn't it? Fun but tiring.
People join us after we've started. Can they still see the history of the comment?
Yes. Yeah. So, Delcy, if you scroll back up in the comments, you'll see that there is a discount on the website, which is our website, which, yeah, you did put a link, so plannercraft.co.uk. And also we have free shipping now over £50, so have fun. So let's have a look at some sentiments. We can go dance where no one else can hear the music. Life is a song, love is a symphony. The melody of life is rich in its harmony. It's a little bit big for our card, that one, but I thought it was good to see. A rest can make a melody. So that's a good one to use if you're trying to get somebody to take a few moments for themselves. And make beautiful music together. Good for a wedding card or engagement card. Loving together in harmony. And I'll save a few others as a surprise. So I think I might go for that one. I'm going to pop that up on some 3D foam. Now with the cut files, if you need to cut a few extras so that you can actually 3D up with some card instead of using foam pads, you can do so. You're welcome to. So to do that on the Scan and Cut, you need to use the CM cut file, like even on the SDX, just to cut those extra sheets, because the XCX one will look for the registration marks. On the silhouette, you can just turn off the registration marks in the software. So that's going to go there. Pop off all these little backers. Nobody's yet invented a tool for doing that nice and quickly. And I'm going to pop that just off to one side, just there. Now, one thing I did want to show you is how we can actually shape our lip flowers. It's a little bit wonky, let me just sort that out first. There we go. Try and get it level, would be good. And basically every flower has a 3-petal version and a 4-petal, and you can use one of each to create your flower. Now you don't have to do matching colours. It actually looks better if you kind of mix and match a bit. And you can use embossing tool, you can use bone folder. It's up to you how you want to create that shape. So I'm just going to work from the back. I'm just going to press along the centre of the petals. That's going to give them a really gentle curve. And by working in little lines, you're going to make it look a lot more natural. Okay. And we're going to do the same for our 4-petal. Now it is easier centre out even on these little tiny petals. And as you go up through the sizes on the cut sheet, you're going to get bigger and bigger flowers. So you should always be able to find flowers that are going to fit your project. So if you're working on something 3D, you're probably going to want to go for the 12-inch flowers. Scrapbooking, you're going to want to go for the 8 inches. And finally, for your card making, your 6. It's a good place to start. Okay, so now that we've done that, we've got these little centre circles in our flower. So if I get that really close, and basically the idea is you want to overlap them, and they're going to kind of almost interlock together. So it can be really easy for you to see where you are positioning them. Now, fingers crossed that my glue works today. Oh, told you, it's either going to go mad or be blocked. It's because of the heat, it's very hot here. So let's get that in, and then we can blot it after. And like so. Let's just get a little bit of bamboo. Save me doing it too much with my finger. There we go. I'm just going to press that down in place. We're just going to lift those outer petals up. And then once that's dry, if you want to put a little gem in there, you can do. It's just the right size. So let's clean that. There we go. I'm going to blot the back of that. There's enough glue on there to still stick it. So let's go and pop that sort of in there. Like so. Just going to use my bone folder just to press that down. And we could do another one. So let's go for one of the bigger ones this time. So these are all off the 6x6 sheet, so you get an idea of the scale. So we've gone from the smallest to the largest. Let's have a look, see how those two are going to work together. There we go. Let's go for those. So again, lines down. You'd be pleased to know that I wasn't going to demonstrate this one on TV. But it's good for you to see how these work. Ready for when you do get them home. So didn't the DT do an amazing job with all the samples? I've put a lot of them up into our album on the group already, and I will add B's and SJ's and Louise's eventually, I promise. I will get there. Okay. So let's just get a little bit of glue in there. press that down, hold it for a minute. Now, with all this heat that we have here in the UK, I hope you're storing your mats safely. So keeping them out of sunlight and as cool as possible. It's a bit difficult here because everywhere is warm in our flat, but let's pop a little bit of glue on that back. So bring the card in. So we've got this kind of curve here with our detailing. So what I want to do is reflect that here. So I'm just going to put a little flower there. Press it on, wait for a moment. And there we go. So we have our first card. So that is Musical Nostalgia. Very whistle stop tour through the collection, but look at that. And you've got your options of 6x6, 8x8, 12x12, as well as with the cut sheets you have the option of which machine that you're going to be cutting with. Now at the moment the cut sheets are for Silhouette and Scan and Cut, but watch this space for Cricut 2. We just ran out of time, didn't we, in the end? So they are coming. We will get there, but let me just put those bits back away so that we don't lose any. As I said, we are going to be doing quite a few videos this week, so these will soon get used up. Are there any questions on the paper at all? Do you want to do a little bit of spiel on the papers, sweetie, while I tidy up? Okay. So the papers are 190 GSM. And are printed with vegetable based toners. And the rings are plant based too. So let's set that to one side for one moment and I'll sort the rest of that out because just time. So there will be a video going up with how to cut all of these, but I wanted very quickly just to show you how they come. So with each cut sheet you get a little seemingly confusing piece of paper that has a load of QR codes on. Now for the Scan and Cut you should have a little target registration mark, and there's two boxes. The top one is the CM cut file, and that doesn't include the registration information. So if you're using a CM, you just need to scan it in, add your cut file, not necessarily in that order, try it the other way around. Yeah, it's one of those days. And then you need to manually position your cut file over the top of your paper. With the SDX, you have a separate code, and that's going to include the registration information. So that means that when we activate this file onto our machine, it's going to come up with the registration scanning. So you can pop this on the mat, it will scan your 4 points. So if I open that up, so you've got your 4 points here, and then it will automatically register everything else as long as you use the right code for the right paper. Now, how to make sure you've got the right one. At the top here, if I can get it to focus, it's got a little code just there, and it says, in this case, MMPC 001, and it's 6 inches. So we're on the 6-inch pad. Open it up, and down here we've got the same code so that you can double check that you have the right one. So there will be a video separately on this that really goes into depth in the cutting. And as we go forward with pads, it's not just going to be cutting, you're going to be able to be drawing and foiling as well. And on the silhouette, you'll have the same thing, just you have one box instead of two. And that includes the registration marks, but you can turn those off in the software as you need to. And again, you'll have that same code system to identify that you have the right file for the right paper. What?
I suppose that one of the YouTube comments I put
yeah, YouTube still seems a bit hit and miss, even though we've turned it around to.
I'm watching both for you.
Okay, so that was musical nostalgia, and I thought I would do a little bit on autumn flowers too. So let me move that bit out of the way. Need a bin in here. So autumn flowers, let's do one of the cut apart sentiment sheets. And let's go for that one. Actually, let's go for that one instead. Almost probably to change your mind. Just because I want something nice and quick to put together. There we go. Oh. Let's move that out of the way. We have the words and icon sheet and our sentiment sheet, and I want to put that together with the papers. Hi Andy. Andy's now watching on YouTube. So let's get a mat. Get the right mat. There we go.
So stuff it watches from the beginning as you missed it, so around the beginning of this.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm probably going to end up repeating myself several times over anyway, so don't worry about it. So let's add that one on.
The show should be in the catch-up, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it will still be on catch up after. So yeah. So I'm going to go okay. And I've already set up all my cut files onto USB. So what you're going to do with your QR code, and I'll go into more depth in this in the video later this week, is you scan it with your smartphone, and that's going to take you to the right file. But I'm going to go into retrieve data, USB. Change camera would help, yes. There we go. Hey! Oh, it's a bit off. Let me just adjust that down slightly. There we go. Now this is where it gets a bit fun for me because it's not putting the file name through, so I have to take a bit of a guess. Okay, so I need the words and icons 002 and check the code on the paper. And I just realised that I didn't go through and change the camera on the other one. But hey ho. So then we're going to have the option to add it. And then it's going to come up with our little registration mark. Then we're going to load our mat. Okay, now let me just turn off the scan and cut overhead one, just because it's just not right. So there we go. So once you've loaded your mat and you have your markings on there, we can go OK. We can then either scan just the registration marks, or usually we can go to start. But if it's greyed out, that's because you haven't put your blade in yet. So I was a good girl and loaded my blade before loading my mat. So let's go to cut. And we don't have to do the pre-registration if you don't want to. If you're not certain that you've got the right file, then you can use that to kind of give you a guide. So let's go start. It's going to scan in those registration marks. And then it's going to cut it out. So let me see if I've got the other one sorted. This is not wanting to play ball today. Come on.
And he says it's clever stuff with the targets and the charge.
It is clever. It is clever, and it saves you so much time trying to line stuff and all the things that you have to do on a CM that you don't have to do with the SDX at all. And I won't try and get there quick enough. But because everything's moved around, it's looking for the cameras in all the wrong places. Come on. It is not liking this today, is it? Get on there. I will try and get this sorted. And let's put that under there. There we go. So let's transition that in. There we go. So finally we've got the camera sorted. So we can see there's our registration marks and it's cut out exactly where it's supposed to. So if we peel that away, hopefully it will be cut nicely. Now I have restuck my mat, so it is super sticky because yeah, Earlier this week it was not.
We stuck it for telly, doesn't we?
Yeah, we restuck it for telly so it behaved, because if there's one thing that mats don't like is heat. So that's the same whether it's a Brother mat, whether it's an Artistix mat, Silhouette, Cricut, you name it. So if ever you're struggling to get things off your really sticky mat, if you bend it, it should release a little easier for you. Director could come and do it myself. There we go. So we have use the transition button.
I did press the transition button, it didn't do anything.
There we go. Almost there. One last one. There we go. So, doesn't hurt the mats doing that. And just makes that life a little easier rather than trying to get under it with a spatula. So, we have happy, chill, friends, power, family. And sometimes it can be a bit difficult when you've got the printed sheets in front of you to kind of know where it's going to be cutting, so it's good to just have another look now that you've cut the sheets and see if it works how you want it to. So I think I'm going to go for friends, and then we can get on next sheet. And stick that onto our mat. Now, if we were to just tell our machine to just go and cut that again, it's not going to tell you that it's the wrong paper. That's just one important thing to put out there. It's not going to go, oh, that's supposed to be this sheet, and it's not. The registration marks are just there to give it a location of where that paper is. So we're going to go.
Can't change it because you're stuck in studio mode.
Yeah. So we need to go home to reset. Okay. I'm going to go back to retrieve data. You will be doing your QR code. Scroll down to where we've got our sentence there. Okay. Now, bear with. What's going wrong?
Your phone.
My phone?
Yes.
We're using the mouse then. Okay. So again, we've got our registration marks. And we're going to go OK, because we know we've got things up the right way, because otherwise all our sentiments would be upside down. So we're going to say that we want to cut, and then we're going to cut them out. So instead of all that faff of then getting all your little boxes, you're just going to be able to just go and cut that one out. So the papers that are up there at the moment are kind of the start of each collection. So you're going to see that there's going to be new bits that are coming up as well, because you can actually buy all these papers individually. So the whole thing behind the never-ending paper pads is that you can create the pad that you want, and it will last for as long as you want it to. So if you need 3 sheets of pastel pink, you haven't also got to have 3 sheets of lime green that you're never going to use, for an example. So it's quite innovative in terms of its usage like that, as well as having the option of the cut sheets. And we have a few more tricks up our sleeve yet that you're going to be able to use with each of the collections. So in terms of sentiments, the sort of strip sentiments that I'm doing at the moment, you can find those in the Autumn Flowers collection and the 80 Summers Inn. Musical Nostalgia has more of a design panel look to the sentiments in there. And then there will probably be some sentiments coming for Lilac Falls. Again, that was a bit of a time issue on that one, because they take the longest, would you believe? But one of the joys of this system is the fact that you don't have a lot of waste. So for instance, on the border sheets, you'll get like these little thin slivers between each border. So if I peel this away, you can start to see what they cut like. Okay, so if I go overhead, you can see that you get very little waste. Okay, let's unover mat, and we can take these off. Now, in terms of the cut sheets, everything does cut at once, so you can't say, oh, I just want to cut that out, as in that one sentiment. So that's just something to bear in mind. But when you buy your paper pads, your rings come in a nice little box. Now you want to keep that nice little box to put all of these little cut sentiments and shapes in, where you don't use them straight away. So let's get that off there. Now these are a little bit more fiddly to get off, so let's take your time. I'll get there. And then once you've done the cut, particularly on these fiddly ones, just give your mat a good scrub down just to get any little fibres off the mat. And that'll keep it nice and sticky then. Let's go. Save me to all the show, and let's get that one and that one. So, just because the size is going to work well. Now, I need the. Can I have the 8x8? Oh, thank you. There we go. So I've kind of got 2 pads in one here just to save on rings, and I think I'm going to go for the purple. And let's show you the little trick. So I'm going to take my paper out. Okay. Now if you've got some nice thin double-sided, you can use some nice thin double-sided. Where's the red tape?
Good question.
I need something double-sided.
There's a red liner.
Yeah, I did have it in my demo pack, so
Yeah.
should be here.
It's not stuck to the other side
No,
because they work together.
no, that was just
Up
one.
there on top of you.
There we go.
I told you they were together.
There we go. So let's get our tape here. So the TV stuff is still waiting to be put where it's supposed to be stored. There we go. It's so warm that it's just been a nightmare for trying to get everything moved. Too warm to do a lot. So let's pop this along here. Okay. I'm going to grab my scissors. Just snip that. There we go. Now, our purple paper actually has like a really fine texture. It's really nice. It's all printed, so it's totally smooth. There we go. Get that red backing. Now I'm going to position my sentiment so that I'm in from the edge, like so, by a little bit of a way. And I'm going to try and keep it level. Like so. So now we're going to get our cutting mat back.
We're just cleaning it off for you.
Okay. Let me grab another one. Not that one.
You're still picking words off it.
Double side one too.
We're almost
Oh.
done.
Almost done that. I'm just going to make this.
I've got loads of CM ones here, but I haven't got the DX one. Let's disassemble my desk. 'Cause did I put it under there? Nope. Oh, the SDX one's gone.
Take that next to you.
They're not.
Putting it back under your desk, did you? I don't think we did.
Well, yes.
Yeah, well, talk about something else for a minute.
Talk about something else. all the joys of live TV, honestly. So, I did show this very briefly on telly, and that was where we where we tested the paper to its fullest. So on Monday, I'm doing a mixed media project with these papers. So I thought good opportunity to give you a bit of a heads up for the type of thing that you can throw at it. So we've done washi masking, we've done actual masking fluid pen on here, and it masks, so just there. So I've left some attached so I know what it is. We've tried crackle paint, we've tried water brushes, pencils, alcohol inks, everything has been thrown at it and it survived. And yeah, there you go, just to give you kind of flash at the back. So the only bit that bled through really was the chrome pen, which you kind of expect anyway. And you can see even the alcohol that we did really good coverage with, it's only just done a ghost on the back, so it stands up to a lot. So we've got mica sprays, anything like that you're gonna be able to just throw at it and it's not going to cockle or stress, unlike me. Thank you. So let's bring in our paper now. Because it's on this top edge, I'm just going to bring that down an inch. It doesn't matter about bringing it in an inch because it's already over to this side anyway. So let's load on that back in. And let's get that. There we go. So I'm going to go OK and home to reset. I'm going to go to scan, direct cut, onto my scanner. Then, because it's got a high contrast, we can use the black and white and go start. A scanner lever. There we go. Now, because we've lowered that scanner lever, just check that your paper is well stuck down. And away we go. Okay. Okay. I'm going to zoom this in. And zoom that in, so it's just got that top section in. Okay. And preview. Now, what you'd usually want it to see is it sees the outside of the box. Now, if it doesn't, we're just going to go home and do it the other way then. So let's get our pattern, our basic shape, long thin rectangle. Use our ratio button because we want to stretch out the width down on the height. So we're going to have something that looks roughly like that and set that onto our mat. Scan, start. Thank you. And we're going to line that up. I'm just going to turn that scan back up just so you can see that a little bit better. So there you go. We've got our sentiment here. We've got our box going around the outside of it. It's very slightly wonky donk. So let's go into edit, object edit, rotate. I'm just going to turn it 1 degree that way. Okay. zoom in and see how that's working. Is that too far? So let's and zoom again. Okay, that'll do. And then we can go to cut. Let that go. Okay. Now let's go back overhead. So although we've cut our sentiment out, we can still put that whole sheet back in our pad, and we can carry on cutting other elements out. As long as we always, keep that binder attached, we'll always be able to tidy up after. And there we go. So we've got friends. A nice, clean, simple card. So this is somewhat big, but that's what I have to hand at the moment. Just to give you an idea. So I won't stick this down permanently yet. I'll do it onto a proper size card so you get a bit more of a sense of where we're heading. Okay, and if you want to include little flowers, we can do that too. So you have both one setup and then the reverse, so that you can actually create a frame if you want to. And there we go. So the other thing that we had on the show that we didn't get a chance to demo really was the craft shield. And you may have watched and thought, well, what's the difference between that and the one that we had before? And it's all down to the setup. So do you want to just there we go. So I'm going to start talking about the square one first of all. So it comes as a set of 2, so you don't have to choose. And I'm going to start off with, let's move the circles out of the way so we don't get confused. Right, there you go. So the squares, we're going to start off with our largest square. And that's going to give you a 10 by 10 aperture. Okay, so that when we're foiling, the idea is that it's going to help protect our map from our foil. So you're going to want to work with the full space inside your frame. So if you have a 10 by 10, you're going, okay, I now want to foil an 8 by 8. You're going to pop in the next frame. That gives you an 8 by 8 aperture. Okay. And then again for the 6 by 6, the 4 by 4, and then in the middle we have a rather confusing shape like so. And what this actually is instead of using it as a mask, it's actually giving you some corners. So let me just up. So when you get yours, it's going to have these, and like, well, roughly like so. Okay. And then I'm missing one, but we'll find it in a minute. Now, these outer corners are 1/4 inch and the inner corners are 1/2 inch. Okay. And the idea being that the craft shield now doesn't exist just on your cutting mat. We're now going to start to use it more on our desk too. So if I take that centre bit out, let's say you are working on a 4x4 card. Just so. Okay, so you put your card blank in here. But you've cut a 3.5 square to go mat on top. So you've put your card blank in. You're then going to take your little corner and you can use as many as you like. If you need to use all 4, use all 4. Personally, I could probably get away with 2. Just, you would start in this end and let it flat. And then you're going to get your alignment perfect. And you can do the same with your 1/2 inch. So if you've got a 3x3 square on your 4x4 to mat in there, you've already got your guide there too. So that is what they're for. Now, not just for mat and layering, you can do the same with your stencils too. And it might be that you're working with a larger stencil on a smaller card. So you're going to want to position your card first. And then if you use something like a little bit of rolled up masking tape, just so that you stick your card in the centre, then you can peel away these to put your stencil in. Put these back on. Okay. And then you can even use your little alignment guides to give you a bit of assistance if you want to add a border as well with some masking tape. So there you go. There are so many different ways that we can work with this. So I am going to be doing a class that is going to focus just on the craft shield, because when we get to the circles it's even more fun. So it's kind of a whistle stop tour of them all. So that was the square idea, and I thought, well, what hasn't the shield done in terms of shapes before? And that was circles, really. So Lucy, can you just pass me the circles, please? Okay. Oh, drop one. Okay, so with the circles, I'm going to see if I can get this to show up on camera a little bit better. So each piece has our logo on it this time. So you also have, going around your circle, you've got some little line guides. And what this means is, if you are familiar with set 2 of the original 4 shield, which was the star shaped one, you're actually going to be able to do that same technique but with a circle. So we're going to do lots of circle borders. So basically you would cut your circle to either your 10-inch diameter, your 8-inch diameter, 6-inch, 4-inch, or 2.5. Now you may think the 2.5 is a bit of a funny number to go to, and that 2.5 is actually for an artist trading coin, so that you can and you go, I now understand what the bits are for. Yeah. It was all part of my cunning plan. So we have ACCs in the middle. Now with our marks, what we can do is we can actually line up a point on a circle. So you put your circle in first, you're going to do a little dot to one of your lines. You can then move it round one notch at a time to build a border for a small design. If you have a medium-sized design, you're probably going to want to move it 2. If you have a larger design, it could be that you're moving it 3 or 4. So that eventually you create a frame. So it's a bit like a sort of spirograph approach. So, yep, that's what the circle ones are for. If you want to do that with foiling, then yes, you can tape your foil to these quite easily and it's going to stay stuck, which is always good. If you want to be cutting a design out, you can cut a design too, so you're not limited as to which you are doing. Just remember that you want to try and keep your design within sort of, let's have a look. So let's say the edge of your frame is resting against your outside your blade, so you don't want to get any closer than that distance from the center of your blade to the outside, otherwise you're going to catch and possibly move your frame. So it all depends on which machine you're working on, because they are all quite happy using this. It's only 0.9mm thick, so it's thinner than the old foil shield, but it's actually probably a little bit sturdier. Yeah, it's more versatile, so we tried to do it so that it's kind of covering the best of both worlds, so that you've got your cutting machines catered for, but also there's lots of techniques that we can use it with on our desk, in a stamp platform. So even the squares you can also use in your stamp platforms too. So if you're, for example, if you've got the Tim Holtz one, you might want to start with the 8-inch frame, so that fits in nicely, all the way down to the 4. If you are using one of the fuller, like 12 by 12 stamp platforms, then you can use the whole thing. So yes, there's so many techniques that you can do with a craft shield, it's hard to fit them all in, but they kind of deserve a program of their own, don't they? So there's going to be quite a step up in content this week. So there are 2 lives on Monday. The first being 11 o'clock, and that's with me and Annie, and we will be doing some wax melts and some gift packaging. Then at 3 o'clock you've got me again for some mixed media with the autumn flowers, and we're going to be looking at how the papers work with different mediums, what you can do with them in terms of effects. So there's going to be some paper piercing on that one. Then Tuesday, watch this space, and I think I have Friday booked in, as that's going to be a YouTube premiere for doing cut files, so the sheets with the registration marks, and I'm going to cover both silhouette and scan and cut in that slot, so do try and join me, and I think you'll have a good idea where we're going from here. So any questions while Lucy's flicking through trying to work out schedule?
Just mentioned the discount.
Yes, so in terms of our sites, that's plannercraft.co.uk, so it has the .co now. If you go on the .uk, it just takes you back to the blog. So .co.uk for the shop. That has a 15% launch discount. The code is in the comments, but I'll just say it just in case. So it's like on telly, but you replace the vowels with numbers. So L1, K3, 0N, T3, LLY, and that's valid until the 1st of July. It gets you 15% off site-wide, so including all the things that are already on there. And you get, so long as it's a one-time use, £10 minimum order, expires 1st of July.
Like
so
one
those,
per customer, so
yeah, one per customer. So
free shipping.
yeah, and free shipping is available over £50. So we now ship via FedEx instead of Royal Mail, so things will get to you a lot quicker, and we'll hopefully find it easier to dispatch stuff as well, because I don't need to rely on you to go to the post office anymore, do I? So it's cool. But yes, I will also show the other two collections later in the week too. So that's 80s Summer Zing and Lilac Florals.
Just flash the foils.
Oh yes, foils. I knew I'd go and forget something. So foils, well, Ian prompts me. So on the site at the moment, we have two main types of ways to buy the foil. One is to buy the colours individually, which are 10 sheet packs in 12 by 12. Have you put the A4s up there, or you just left it as 12 by 12?
Just, A4 and they're within each colour, I think, so you can pick.
Okay, so you can have 12 by 12 or A4. Sorry, can you write the discount code should be in the comments, but if not, here you go. If you can read my handwriting, there you go. Focus, there we go. Like on telly. R1, K3, 0N, T3,
I'll put it in again.
LRY. Yeah, and Ian will put it in the comments as well.
Again.
Yeah.
If you go into 12 by 12, we should give you the drop down option for size.
Okay. Now, in addition to those options, I've also put together some packs that are specific to the papers.
The foils are in the sizes.
The foils are in the sizes.
Foils are in the sizes. Okay, cool. So, go through the foils. We have autumn flowers. So that is bright purple, deep purple, gold, white matte, and the gunmetal. It's a bit hard to tell with our lighting. So the white matte is really good for doing a watercolour resist, and it's one of my favourites, which is why it features in every single taster pack. So one of the demos I was going to try and tell you was actually, how the watercolour resist works, because when you get into ink blending, it has the opposite effect, so you can do some really funky effects with that white foil. Then we have the musical nostalgia, which is a bit more classic. So you've got your silver, your gold, your gunmetal, your rose gold, and the white. And then all these taster packs come with a few surprise extras. So if you order musical nostalgia, for instance, you're going to get a nice red satin and gold molten. So moltens are gorgeous. They have like a texture to them. But then when you run your finger over the top, they're totally smooth. Really funky idea. Next we have 80 Summer Zing. So we've got green, aqua blue, bright purple, silver and white matte. And finally we have the lilac floral. So that's the bright purple, the green, the deep purple, the silver and the white. So they all give you quite a good little selection. And the surprises kind of fill in the gaps. So the surprises may or may not make it to full stock. You never know. Depends on how sales go. So if we get lots of demand for the Moltons, for instance, we might get those in, but they're super duper mega expensive. So they might have a category all of their own. So, any other questions now that I finally remembered to do the foil? We haven't covered the additionals, have we?
The additional pages?
Yeah. So, you have your starter packs that come with your standard 24 papers. In the 6x6 you get 6 rings, in 8x8 you get 8 rings, and in 12x12 you get 11 rings. Okay, then on top of that you have a top-up additional pack, and very handily snuck in there by Lucy. So with the additionals, you're going to get things that you aren't covered by either the cut parts or in terms of the cut sheets, or within the pads themselves. So for instance, the Autumn Flowers additional we've got a cut apart sheet here that is going to be 6x4s. So this is something that we can't really do on our machines because we can't really cut to the edge without risking your mats, and it won't work with the registration anyway. So they kind of deserve like a little additional section all of their own. So Autumn Flowers has one of the cut apart sheets. There may be more of those coming. Depends on how much demand we have. 80 Summers Zinc has 5 cut apart sheets. So we've got 3x4s, 6x4s in the 12x12. Then as you move down through the sheets, you're going to find that those sizes change. But for scrapbookers, these are ideal. And very funky and bright. Now, Musical Nostalgia is a whole new level on the additional pages, just because when I was designing them, I went a little bit mad and I ended up with far too many papers. So they've kind of all gone into the additional. So to give you kind of a glimpse, we've got them in 6x6 here. So we've got all of our additionals, and then right back, just to show you how things change as they move through the sizes. So the cut apart in the 12x12 looks like this. The cut apart in the 6x6 looks like this. So we have 9 2x2 squares. So you have lots of options.
No worries, Delcy. Have a good.
That's okay, Delcy. We're pretty much done anyway, so there you go. So over the week, you're going to see lots of different ways that you're going to be able to work with these papers and the craft shield and the foils. That's the one I'm missing. There we go. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you Monday at 11 with Annie. Bye for now.